are here on the beautiful shores of Lake Ontario, Beach Boulevard, 363 Beach Boulevard to be exact, and that is where you can find Julia Veenstra's home studio. Of course, we know her beautiful space on Ottawa Street, that's Crown and Press, but as mentioned, this is her home studio where she is getting set to showcase this beautiful garden for her garden tour coming up September the 9th. Julia, first of all, great to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
You, Louis. Welcome to my garden.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful. And you are getting ready to showcase this off on September 9th.
Yes, September 9th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Like you said, at 363 Beach Boulevard. We'll be highlighting my studio and my studio garden.
Now, you've been doing this a few years now,
Yes.
and we were talking about kind of the first time out of COVID. This is the first real big full event that you've been able to put on here in this space.
Right. So when COVID happened, the first time we had the event, it was so exciting because it was the first time things were opened up, and we had about 1,000 people line up, and they were so patient. Canadians are so patient. They took their time. We only allowed 30 to 40 people in at a time, and it was great. But now, come on down. You can all see the garden and the art that I'm going to be showing and the guests that I have.
The art, the guests, we're going to get to that here this morning. Let's talk about Crown and Press because you've been open since June there on Ottawa Street. Beautiful space. I know you have worked really hard in getting that space up and running. How has it been with that new
Crown and Press
space?
has been so exciting. We've had already events. Our counselor had a pop-up event there. People are starting to rent this space. It's beautiful. It's Instagrammable. That's what we're finding. I don't even have to do the social media. Yeah. I just share the stories, right? And don't forget, I'm just going to side note.
Yeah.
Side note, we found a spider today.
Yeah.
Look at that baby.
In this, why wouldn't a spider want to make this garden a home? I mean, this is a labor of love. I know your art is a labor of love. When you think about this garden, do you think of it the same way as you do about your art?
I do. I work in layers in my painting, and you'll see that later. And I work in layers in the garden. So I love the high, medium, low. I love color combinations. There's always something to tweak. After my garden tour, I'll be doing some divisions and moving things around. But it's a creative outlook. Gardeners, they got it in their blood, I think.
Absolutely. The colors, I mean, you can see why where your inspiration comes from. And we mentioned it, just the beautiful lake view that you have here. You mentioned some of the guests that will be here at the garden party.
So we have Shop Just One, a fair trade and ethical jewelry and home decor shop. And Cuts and Scrapes Woodcraft is Rick Veenstra, my brother-in-law, and he does beautiful woodworking. All
right, okay, well, we're going to meet Rick in a segment coming up. We're going to do some painting as well. There's lots going on here. Stick with us here on CHCH Morning Live. All right, you see the sign there, the Julia Veenstra Garden Party and Tour happening September 9th. We are getting a sneak preview here on CHCH Morning Live. We are at 363 Beach Boulevard. We have made our way through the garden, and we are checking out some of the other exhibits that will be here, including Rick Veenstra, who's up here as we make our way on the deck. And,
good morning.
Rick, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
What do we got here? This is a passion project of yours, isn't it?
Mostly, yeah. It's a passion thing. Really, the opportunity to sell it is really much welcomed by my wife, so we can get some of this out of the house. I do a lot of turning at night after work. It's a good relaxing thing for me, but it ends up with a lot of stuff. So every couple of years or every couple of months, we try and sell a few things. I have a few people stop in at the house, friends and family. Great wedding gifts, great party.
No, first of all, what is the name of what your business is?
Well, there's no official thing. I call myself Cuts and Scrapes Woodworking or Woodcrafts.
Cuts and Scrapes, and I love that because it really is reflected in some of the pieces that we have here. It's rescued wood that we're working with here.
Primarily. Yeah. I work for a company in Burlington called Exotic Woods, and pretty much everything that you see here has come from a garbage can or a bin, cut off bits. There's very little that I purchase, otherwise it just gets to be too expensive a hobby. But yeah, they've given me the grace to be here this morning, so that's where the little shout out is all about. But yeah, things, just trying to find ways to use bits. Yeah. Right?
I mean, it really adds the character to it, right? I mean, it's not this mass-produced stuff. This is obviously handmade with time and care, and even like the imperfections just add to the pieces of what make them what they are.
it's nice to explore that. And really, for me, what it is, it's an exploration of shapes. I rarely have a plan of what a thing's going to look like when it comes off the lathe, but so it's a work in progress. I've been doing it for about 4 years.
Do you have a lathe with us here today?
I don't.
Okay, all right. What is a lathe, first of all?
Lathe is basically a horizontal spinning motor.
Okay.
That you clamp a chunk of wood on.
Yeah.
And then go at it with sharp knives.
Okay, all right. And that's how all these pieces come together. All right. So we're working our way down here. I can see a piece here that looks like it's not quite what it could be here. We have a finished piece. Well, what do we got here? So we got a little chunk of wood.
You know, I thought maybe you'd like to be an apprentice.
All right, let's try this out.
And learn
what do we got here? Okay.
So this started very much like this.
Yeah.
Rough piece, just a cut off.
Yeah.
But we're going to pry the bark off.
Okay.
And then maybe sand it a little bit, and maybe if we get the time to put a little bit of finish on it.
All right, I'm not sure we'll have time to put the finish on it, but let's definitely pry this off. So what do we?
I got
what kind
sharp
of
tools.
pieces? Yeah,
this
exactly.
is walnut.
Okay.
So this is the bark edge of a piece of walnut.
Yeah.
So the sapwood there, the heartwood, the darker, normal looking stuff.
Yep.
But you don't get a lot of that right out to the edge, but there's some interesting little ripple in there, and you just basically
Pry it off.
Start prying it off.
Now,
normally I would clamp this down. But
Yeah. Where would we be able to find your pieces? I mean, we're going to see you here at the garden party, but where else would we be able to find you?
I have an Instagram presence that is not really heavily. I'd rather turn
Just like this?
than. Yep. There you go. See? Progress.
this.
Instant.
Just like that. All right. You're working on your Instagram presence, so that's why we're all excited to see you here at the garden party.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, friends and family, stuff gets donated.
Makes a great wedding gift.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Well, Rick, we're gonna keep working at this.
It gets a little
I
satisfying.
know. I got my muscles out here. Wet muscles. We're gonna keep working on it, but we're gonna continue here. Rick, thank you for doing this. Appreciate it. But we
Sharp stuff. Watch out.
We are continuing here on CHCH Morning Live, getting set for the garden party. Julia Veenstra on CHCH Morning Live. Back here at Julia Veenstra's home studio, which is the site of the garden tour and party that is happening September 9th. And we are back with Julia Veenstra. And we were just with Rick with his workings and one of the pieces that'll be here. But you also have another one here with just one.
Yes, and shopjustone.com is an ethical fair trade project with the goal to end poverty. So poverty is when people lack resources, and generational poverty is when that continues through generations. And Just One had started this project in Kenya and Uganda with recycled materials and things like that, with an ethical fashion made by the artisans themselves to give them the opportunity to change their life.
Why was it important for you to make Just One a part of your tour?
So some people know this, but we lived in Tanzania and Kenya for 5 years.
Okay.
And I also ran a fair trade, ethically traded project for a long while, until it grew to the point where I could transfer it back over to the artisans themselves.
Oh, wow.
And Just One has my heart, right? So from beads that are being made, and I think they're being filmed right now, from magazines to metals that are using old padlocks, anything black is made of bone.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, it's just a very exciting project with an edge that is Western in appeal. The jewelry is glorious for all.
Yeah. And just like we were talking about with the garden being a work of art, I know, like, as an artist, how much you appreciate that art doesn't just have to be on a canvas. It can be on something like a garden or like a piece of jewelry.
Which is, yes, that is incredible. And what I love and get excited about these artisans, as well as Krista does, Krista Jefferson, is that they design, Krista may design the pieces, but these artisans have to figure out how to craft them. And when you look at them, they are incredibly well done. These artisans are skilled.
Well, speaking of skill, you are going to show off some of your skill and hopefully transfer some of that onto me when we get back here, because we are going to be painting our own little piece.
Some Rudbeckia.
Okay, well, we're going to do that as we continue here, getting set for Julia Veenstra's garden tour and party, which is happening September 9th. Stay with us here on CHCH Morning Live. Always a nice reminder to stop and smell the flowers, which is what we're doing here at 363 Beach Boulevard. It is Julia Veenstra's home studio where she is getting set to host her garden tour and party September the 9th,
September
11
9th.
a.m. till 5 p.m.
10 o'clock till 5.
10 a.m. to 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. right here at this beautiful space, and we've been hanging out all morning, and now we're finally getting to paint some art.
That's right. I'm gonna give you some techniques.
Okay, but what's our first step?
The first step is a ritual. You have to have your apron on. For me,
Yeah.
I can't even get started until this apron is on.
Okay.
So,
all right. Here we go. How does it look, Aaron? Good?
Are we looking good?
Yeah, all right. Here we
All
go.
right.
Okay, first step. How do we paint?
The next step is literally I take my chalk.
Yep.
We're going to be painting the yellow rudbeckia.
Okay.
And just you draw it on.
Okay, all right.
Take it,
So,
make your composition.
so here we go. So I want
And you can be quick because, this
Oh,
is
yeah,
TV.
that's true. That's true. Oh, Aaron, come on, man. Come on. They're droopy. I'm
And
trying to
you're
get the little ball.
just
quick, eh?
Just quick details. You don't need to give too much shading or anything like that. And then there we are.
Okay. See? Okay, that's what you did.
Fantastic,
Okay.
Louis.
Thank you. Thank
Look
you.
at that.
All right. Okay. So what do we
Look
got
at
here?
that.
This is pretty interesting because it seems like it's sealed. What is this?
It is. So this is a sealed palette, which I've made fresh for you today.
Awesome.
And this is called a Stay Wet by Masterson. It's important for artists. They always ask me what it is.
Okay.
It's a foam that's
Oh.
wet underneath. It's a paper that is extra strong. You put the sealed lid on, it keeps your
Stays
paint.
wet.
Yeah.
Lives up to its name. All right, here we go.
The
So
next
where do we
step,
go?
I usually start with the darks. So you would start popping in probably all the dark,
Is that dark brown?
the dark
or-
brown, but you don't have to use brown.
Okay, what can
you're
I
the
use?
artist, you can
I'm the
use whatever
artist.
you want.
Okay, okay.
And a technique
see
that I
brown.
use
Yeah.
is I touch a couple of
Yeah.
pieces of paint
Yeah.
and
then
I
go.
mix it right on the canvas.
All right. So I'm gonna do.
So here I'm just gonna flip it in, get a little darker paint, maybe even a little
Just
blue.
flip it in.
Just flip it in. There you go. Don't work that too hard. Go to the other one.
Go to the next one.
Quick, quick.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
all right.
for camera's sake, let's try to get
All
some
right.
yellow.
Let's try and get some yellow.
Let's do it.
Let's go. All right. Tell us a little bit more. So who else is going to be here on September the 9th? Who should we be looking for?
Well,
We talked about Rick.
we
who's
talked
going to
about
be
Rick
here.
and Krista from Just One, and me and all the guests.
Yes, so we can't wait. And again, your studio space. This is your home studio, but where's your studio space again for people who may have missed it a little bit earlier?
My home studio is here, but Crown and Press, my new gallery, and I carry over 30 Canadian artists, is at 303 Ottawa Street North.
My mom is going to be either disappointed or very proud, but it's art, right? So it's subjective.
That's fantastic.
It's
let's
subjective.
do a dark.
Okay.
Let's do a dark green leaf.
Dark green leaf.
underneath
Oh,
it.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
there's a big where we dark green. Oh,
That and
Oh,
maybe
no, I
pick
didn't
up,
wash it well enough.
That's okay. Pick up a little of that.
a little of that.
And let's just get it in there. Quick,
Just
quick.
a little, just a big leaf.
Don't
oh,
worry. Art's expression, right?
Exactly.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I like that. I actually like this. I'm gonna hang this when I get home. I mean, yours will probably be a little bit nicer, but Julia, it's been so fun hanging out with you this morning. I feel like I've touched my artistic side. I think our viewers might have a different opinion.
I think your composition is great.
Thank you.
You didn't center it. You made it kind of
Thank
off
you.
to the
I gotta hide the
side.
chalk. Should I hide the chalk a little bit? All right, well, we have been having such a great morning, and remember, come down here, September the 9th, 10 a.m. till 5 p.m., 363 Beach Boulevard. Julia, thanks so much for hanging out with us
You're
this
welcome,
morning.
Louis. Thanks for coming.